Good morning, guys. It's a new month. It's July 1st, and it is time to give you guys another garden tour. Let's head into the garden. I came out with some supplies, and I'll show you guys what I have here. Let me set down my quilt. Everything is nice and wet. It rained a little bit overnight. It's supposed to rain some more soon. So it's perfect timing for me to come out here and give you a little tour of what's been happening. So I have here some dish soap. This was done and I refilled a new bottle. So I don't have the sprayer, but I'm gonna use one of my watering cans, dilute this soap with some water, and you're gonna see why shortly. And for that same reason, I also have this torch, and I do have some snippers. I need to trim our tomatoes a little bit, and I have a little harvest basket because I'm gonna need to harvest some stuff. So before I actually start off with the garden tour, I'm gonna head to the garden shed, get my sprayer to be able to refill my, not refill, to be able to use that, create that dishwater soap. Okay, so I only found this little one. I guess this will have to do for now. And I'll have to buy a bigger one to have out here. Because when I'll show you the issue, if this is something that persists, then I'm gonna need something bigger than this. Okay, let me add some soap, add some water, and then we'll start our tour. Okay, so today's garden tour, we're gonna start at the front end. That means closest to my house, and we'll work our way back. But this time, instead of going across the garden, I think we'll walk down, come up, and then walk down again. So the first thing I want to show you guys here is that we have been, my husband started working on the irrigation system. So, I'm just setting my coffee down. So you can see the hose going straight over there. And then every row has a strip going all the way down there. So this is what we've done so far. We have to install the little hoses that will go from there up to the bed, put in the sprinkler heads, and he also installed this already so that we can still have a hose. And over here we're gonna attach sorry about that. Over here we're gonna attach the connection to our water, so we'll be able to just turn on the water from here and it'll irrigate all our beds. So that is something that has been we've been working on. So over here in the front we've got some radishes, and it is looking better than they did in the beginning of the season when I started them, and the fertilizing is helping. The difference that I've seen since I started fertilizing, wow. It was important to do that soil test. If you didn't see, I can link that video for you. We did a soil test. Our soil was lacking in nitrogen, and I've been fertilizing with a nitrogen heavy fertilizer, and the progress that we've seen is, like I said, unbelievable. So this entire bed is peppers, and they have grown significantly, most of them, and are doing more or less fine. This bed for some reason is not doing as good as the pepper bed that I started from seed. But you can see this one is a golden cayenne, and it already has some peppers on it. But from my understanding, cayenne peppers are generally the first ones to produce fruits. So generally I don't have these weaker leaves anymore. They all look nice and vibrant and green, as you'll see throughout. But for some reason, this bed does have a bit more of those damaged, weaker leaves. This pepper over here has some buds. This is a sweet banana pepper. And the next two are also sweet banana peppers, and they also already have some buds on them. The next three over here are going to be a California Wonder, a green pepper. And this one, I can see buds. It's not flowering yet, but also it's not very big yet, and for some reason it does have a bit more damage. This over here is some flowers that I bought. Which one is this? The tag fell out of this one? No. This is a purple dome New England aster. It's a perennial flower. And this is what will be going in. And you'll see two more flowers over there that will be going into our border over here. Once we are able to trim this back, remove all this weeds, we're going to put down wood chips, and we'll have our perennials and some herbs growing in the entire length of our garden over here. The next three peppers is the early bird red bell pepper, and over here I can see the first fruits. So that already flowered, the flowers already fell down, and they are starting to produce fruit. This one I see a lot of buds on it as well. This one the tag flew off. I knew that one of them the tag flew off, and I'll show it to you in a minute. But look at this. This is going to be so pretty. And then we got over here another flower that will go into our border. And these, they really need to be planted out. They're not doing the best in the pots. This is a coneflower. And then over here on the trellis line we have cucumbers. They are doing pretty good because these have been fertilized since they sprouted. But over here you can really see the difference between the new beds and the old beds. And just for no other reason than just the soil in the old beds have more nutrients readily available for the plants. But these are doing pretty good. I don't like what I see over here. I'm gonna have to Google why this is happening. Okay. So moving over to our next bed, and then we'll walk up the next one. Is you can see over here our cucumbers over here doing so much better. Look at the height difference. Over here they're reaching up to the second row going across, and over here they're just barely through the first one. So I'm assuming this one will do better and go higher up across the arch, but I trust and I very much believe that this one will grow as well and produce fruit as well. It'll just be a little bit behind. Here we got our garlic, which I actually already started to harvest some. Maybe we'll come through and harvest some at the end of this because I don't want to walk around with a bunch of garlic heads as I'm doing the tour. But you can see some spots where I already pulled some, especially on the next bed you'll see. And over here, across this row over here, I did plant some cilantro, which is coming up. Not the ideal time to grow cilantro. It's just that they got wet, the seed packet, and I had to, it was either plant them or lose them. So I figured might as well plant them and see what comes of it. Over here we got our zucchinis. They are flowering. They're hopefully going to produce some zucchinis in the next week. We can probably harvest them. So yeah, we're going to do that. What I want to do over here while we're here is, let me set you guys down. I want to keep cutting down the big leaves that are under any new growth. So this is not the best snipper for this because it's not very big. And the reason why I'm doing this is because they are so prickly and they bother me when I go to harvest. And it's going to help maintain the plant growth, the plant health, because I'll be able to see what's going on better. And it'll make harvesting easier because we can actually see where everything is. And these leaves can be used as an additional soil amendment. We can put it on the bottom of our beds, our new beds, to help add the nutrients back as this breaks down. So I'll cut some more on the other side as I get there. And I do see that the beds have some weeds, but we're going to take care of that after all the rain finishes in the next couple days. Down here we have some celery that I harvested the other day. So I'm just trying to hold my basket. And it is starting to grow back slowly. Same with our scallions. I did a very heavy harvest the other day, so these have to come back. They're not doing as good now that our squash plant is getting so big. And I planted more scallions, but they're not doing so good. So I'm hoping that we're still going to get more scallions this season. I also did plant a bunch of, I believe, Cosmo seeds right over here. And it looks like this is our only one that came up so far. We've got our dill, which I have harvested a lot from already the last week or two. Week, actually. And we've been loving it. And here is our loofah. They really took off, growing up all the way. And they are quite far up the trellis, right there. And now we just have to hope that it's going to produce the fruit and it's going to dry out in time that we can have a harvest and try these out and see if we like these. So I'm going to do over here, I'm going to come back to this zucchini plant, and we're going to do the same trimming that we did before on this one as well. And I see that some zucchinis weren't pollinated, so they're dying back. I'll take those off as well. Ah, those are prickly. It opens up the airflow for the plant. There's just so many benefits for me to do this. I can see the weeds better. This zucchini over here wasn't pollinated. As you can see, it is rotting from the blossom end. So we're just gonna get rid of it. Okay, and like I said, I'm gonna do some more of this on the other side when we walk up that way. Okay. And over here you can see our plant, our loofah going all the way up. And as we see the ends coming out, if it looks like it's not going to go back in, we slowly guide it with the vines, helping them twist around so that they'll hold up and continue going up. On the other side of the trellis, we have our sweet pea, which I have planted for these beautiful flowers that they produce. Let me find one that I can show you. Look at this beautiful color. So I honestly thought that it's going to be full of blossoms like that. But I think it has to do with our lack of nutrients. You're going to hear this throughout. But the bottom really didn't fill up with blossoms over here because it didn't have the nutrients to be able to produce it. It did vine, even without the nutrients, but it didn't produce anything other than the leaves. You can see on this side where the groundhog, we had a groundhog come in here, and you'll see a few things that we had a groundhog and a deer come in, and a squirrel. So the groundhog had chopped down these few plants over here. And since I started fertilizing, some of them are coming back and they're not producing flowers. So that means that it's going to produce some peas. And this is what we do with it. Try to get it to vine like this. And then hopefully it'll go up there. We'll have this one go up here. And wherever there's a flower, there's going to be a sweet pea. So this is what we're going to harvest today over here. We're going to look through. And these are so sweet and juicy. They are amazing. Got one here. into my basket. And something like this, it's important to come around from both sides because sometimes you can't see everything from the front. Okay, I think I got everything of decent size right now. These over here, we're gonna let them get a bit bigger. This is gonna be your breakfast. Wanna have it with some bread? And this one also, the side that is growing up, that side is still shorter because like I said, the groundhog ate it. But this one is also going nice, growing up, all the way up. Okay. So over here we had our radishes, which I had cut down, and apparently it looks like they're growing back. I did put in some aster seeds, but most of them look like they are the radishes coming back. So I'm gonna see what I'm gonna do about this. For now, I'm gonna leave it like this. This is our watermelon, which last month I showed you it wasn't doing much, but since I started fertilizing, it's growing nicely, and we're hoping to have some fruit soon. It'll take a while, but hopefully it'll be here soon. Same thing with our spaghetti squash. Compared to our other squash that we just trimmed, you can see it has a long way to go, but it's come a long way since our last month and our soil test and fertilizing. And same with here with our butternut squash. Over here we got some beans. I believe these are navy beans. Let me see the tag. It's right over here. Yeah, navy beans. And these navy beans, they were chopped down by the squirrel that came into the garden. Since we have a zip line right here, it very easily can come into the garden. It just climbs onto this little deck and then jumps off into this bed. And yeah, that's what I've seen, the pattern of what the squirrel was doing. So I chopped it down. I chopped down some of the chickpeas as well that you'll see. But some of them are coming back and some are not. So I have more in another bed, so I'm not upset about it. But this is the update for this. The chickpeas, like I said, I wanted to say chipmunk. The squirrel did eat a lot of it actually, because they were probably about this size the last time I showed them to you. And then the squirrel chopped them down and slowly they're coming back. So I'm hoping I'll still have a decent harvest because it's taking so much longer because of that and the lack of nutrients. So hopefully we'll have a decent harvest and we'll get to enjoy this. This is going all the way down till over here. Okay, now we're back here by the squash. And over here I also planted some cosmos. And I can see it coming up over here. We've got one. So let me do the trimming again. Okay, so as I was doing this, the flower from one of the squashes over here fell off. I'll just leave it over here. And I'm gonna hope that that squash got pollinated. I mean, this is one that I hadn't pollinated yesterday myself. But I usually like to leave it in case there's still any pollen. The flower can still access it. But since it fell off, I'm not gonna cry. I'm just gonna hope that it was pollinated enough for it to actually produce the fruit. And I think I want to get myself a little paintbrush because like I see there's a male squash over here, squash blossom, and there's a female flower over here. Now would be the perfect time to hand pollinate because both of them are open. But I don't want to remove the male flower because if we have bees or butterflies or birds coming soon, they should be able to do this. And I don't want to remove the flower. So the way to know the difference between a male and female flower is you can see over here, this is squash blossom and it has a straight stem underneath. And I'll show you the flower that I was talking about. This one over here, another flower, but you can see it has a zucchini right over there. And another thing you can see inside looks different as well. This is the male, and this over here is the female. If you were to take the pollen from this one, put it into that one, it's going to pollinate and produce the fruit. So I'm going to trim back our second zucchini plant over here as well. And here we have the second side of our garlic. And like I said, we'll come back through at the end and harvest them. You can see over here I harvested one, if the camera picks it up. This over here is a volunteer tomato, which I decided to let it grow. And we'll see if it produces anything. It doesn't take up any bed space for me. It's not taking away nutrients or water from anything. So I figure we'll leave it and we'll see what it does. This side of the bed, again, we have peppers. And that's one of the squash leaves. You see that I put it here and I let it break down. It's going to add nutrients back into the soil. If I want, I can bury it a little bit to make the process go a little bit faster. I just did it one night and it was going to rain, so I just plopped it down here and we let it do its thing. Over here, I guess my husband put in the sprinkler head already. It's not attached, but you can see over here is where it's going to be attached, coming down to our hose over here. And we've got the rest of our peppers and more of our radishes. So coming over to the next row, we've got our sunflowers over here. They're getting nice and big, and these are not going to get very much taller, and it looks like they are starting to form the heads. I can see the teeny tiny thing over here that's going to form the head. These are our dahlias, which, like I said earlier with our peppers, they're taking a little while, but since I started fertilizing, they've come such a long way. So, and you'll see this across the board over here with the flowers. These were pretty much the same size as when I had transplanted them last month when I showed them to you. There's some that are still catching up, like down there, but some of them are really getting nice and big, and hopefully we're going to have blooms very soon. Our snapdragon over here, we had cut down one over here because it was really tall and it had the flowers already. It was doing beautiful. You can see over here is where I trimmed it, and we're hoping to have more growth and more blooms soon. That one over there, ooh, what is that bug? That is not a good one. So this over here is a bug that I do not want to have in my garden. I spotted it the other day next to my squashes that we just trimmed. And according to my research that I did then quickly, all you need to do for this, I don't want to do it with my hands, I'm going to put on a glove, remove it, and I just squash it in my glove. I'm not going to show that to you because it's really not pretty. That's it. Get rid of it. And over here you can see this is the start of a bloom, I believe. And I'll show you the other side over there. We got some blooms already. But when we come back around, here we've got our eucalyptus, which is also slowly getting bigger. And over here I have a bunch of cosmos thrown in here. Because also the cosmo, the packet got wet. So I had to plant them or lose them. But the ones over here that are bigger are the ones that we started off with at the beginning of the season. And they're not producing flowers yet, but again, hoping that it's going to come very soon. This is our asters, doing so much better. I don't know if you remember last time, but last time most of them looked pretty much like this. Very faded in color, burnt and yellow, and now they're beautiful green, and they are starting to put on the flower buds. Our zinnias. Do you want to cut some zinnias? You know how to cut them? Come, should I show you? But I'm here now, so now I can show you. Putting down these few. I have a helper out here. She's putting out the leaves that we just cut off from the zucchini plant, and she's placing them on the new beds. So all you're going to do is you're going to take the main stem on the flower, and you're going to see where it splits like that. If it doesn't have a split like that, then just cut it on top of a set of leaves. Like, let's say over here, let me see, like this one over here, you can cut like right over here. But I think that they're all going to be on top of something like this because I had trimmed them recently. So you can take from this, from that, this one, and that tall one over there. Because by cutting them down, we're creating a bushier plant like this instead of growing in height. Yeah.
And
because
a very pretty color.
Yes, I love the color too. Beautiful. I don't know why it doesn't come up on camera the same that it does
In real life.
in real life. It's more orange. It's a gorgeous color.
Very pink and pretty.
So yeah, we want it to be bushier instead of taller. Over here we got our baby's breath, which I know it takes a longer time than a lot of these other flowers to bloom. But yeah, they're coming a long way since we started fertilizing. And our sage over here also getting nice and big. This one is our green beans, I believe. And these, you'll also see a big difference from the other side. Although the other one is pole beans, is snap peas. But I think I have to add more nutrients on this side because it's really, really slow. And I would love to be able to harvest them already. But hopefully we'll still get a decent harvest from this. So as you can see, this one is coming up 1, 2, 3, 4. The tallest one comes up 5. But most of them are not even touching the 4th one. And over here, look at this. Some of our vines are already up there. Really nice and tall and up there, almost halfway. Actually, that one is halfway. Wow. But I have not seen any blooms on them yet. So hopefully we'll get that soon. I'm wondering if this will first put out its full potential in growth and then put out the blooms. Possible, but I'm not sure. But we'll find out. Here we've got our soft neck garlic in the front. And I planted a bunch of drying beans in between, which are already putting on the buds. So that means that we're going to have beans soon, and then we're going to let it dry out on the plant, and then we're going to harvest it. And over here we planted some more cilantros that are coming up as well. And like I said, I think once all the rain is done, I am going to come out here and weed again, because there's quite a lot of weeds again. Oh, my coffee. Let me take a sip. Moving over to our next bed. We've got our cabbages, which I can see they are starting to turn in. They're like, the outer leaves will go out, and the inner leaves will go in and create the cabbage head. Here we have our broccolini, which I already took off the main flower that forms first. And it's already starting to put on the offshoots. I see all of them have what's starting to look like an offshoot. And I don't know if the camera will pick it up through the netting, but the netting is working really nicely. You'll be able to see it on that side actually. The kale is kind of slow. I could not harvest anything yet. I'm hoping very soon to have a ton of kale salads, and I'll be fed up with it very soon. But we're waiting on these. And over here we have more of our cabbages, and same thing, they're starting to curl in and create the heads. Over here we have the end of the irrigation line, which my husband's going to put a zip tie to close it off. Let me just get this down. Okay, let me show you the broccoli that I told you you'll be able to see. Right over here. It's broccolini, so it's not going to form a big head. So we keep on harvesting this and munching it down, and I'm wondering if next year I want to do more broccoli because it's something that we really enjoy. But we'll have to see how the garden does this year. If I can afford to have another bed with the netting over top, I would definitely do more broccoli. Because if you don't know, my long-term goal with our garden is to be able to preserve for us to have for the year, to enjoy fresh and then be able to preserve. So since most of the beds this year are new, I don't know how far this will take me. So look at these starting to flower over here. This is another drying bean. So yeah, the end of the year I'll know if I can have another bed. Look at these flowers, gorgeous. You want to go inside, put them in a, so take over the leaves. You can do it over the bed, just like the squash leaves, because the leaves in the water makes the flower go bad faster. You could put it in a mason jar with water afterwards inside. Thank you. Over here we also got a petunia that came up, a volunteer from last year, and I'm letting it go. It's been knocked over by the hose multiple times. Yeah, I showed them the tomatoes already. It's been knocked over by the hose a few times and with a wheelbarrow and who knows what else, but it keeps on going. Petunias are a flower that just keeps on going. So what did I say over here? I'll show you. Oh, the snapdragon. So since the flowers are all going across, I'm not going to show you all this again, but here you go. All these are going to open up and create our flower. And our dahlias again, and our sunflowers again. So we're going to move over to the third row. And over here is very exciting. So we have lettuce thrown in all over. This is some celery leaves. I told you guys that I harvested 2 bunches of the celery, and the celery leaves I just threw down over here. So over here, most of our plants already have some peppers growing on them. Some are getting there, some are bigger, some are smaller. This one has 2 beautiful peppers on them. I think this is our first and biggest. It's putting a nice size. It's about the size of my palm right now. And it'll be ready to harvest pretty soon. We're waiting for it to turn colors though. This is our red cayenne. We've got some peppers right here. Got some baby ones forming right here. I'm excited to be able to harvest these as well. Our ghost pepper bushed out a lot. I didn't trim it, I didn't do anything, but for some reason it bushed out like this. And I see over here the first buds right up here. I don't know if the camera will pick it up. Our jalapenos, almost ready to harvest. I'm waiting for them to get a little bit bigger before I do. And this one is slowly straightening out. This was like falling all over. This is orange pepper, and I see the first pepper coming up right there. Okay, the next bed over, we have our onions and carrots. So our carrots tops were chopped down by the groundhog. A different time that he came in, because we had put the fencing in and he couldn't get in, and this is going to be a doorway. He came in from here and he ate down the carrots, and since then I haven't seen him back here, and nothing looks eaten since then. And we've put up that it's open now because I went out there and got the spray bottle, but the groundhog hasn't come in since. So they are growing back. They are putting up nice height and more leaves, and they're getting nice and big. They're not quite ready for harvest. I don't even know when I started them, so I don't know where I'm up to in the days of like when it should technically be done. But I'm very much going to do, let me show you. So the way to check it is you can just move away the soil over here. You can see the tops of the carrots, and it still looks pretty small. So we're going to let it go. But our onions are starting to bulb up. You can see the bulb starting to form over here. Some are slower, like this one, but like if you don't know, so our onions, I started indoors in January, I believe, and I had gotten myself a new shelf for my seed starting station, and the cells fell down and I lost a bunch of onions. They got damaged and my tags got not mixed up. It just because they all fell, I didn't know which onion start was what onion. So I'm assuming the ones that are not really forming heads yet are the Onion Powell. And then I got a New York Early, which I'm assuming this one will be the New York Early since it's bulbing already. But there's no way of keeping track. Like you can see over here, this one's not really bulbing yet, but this one is. Over here we've got some lettuce that I've already harvested a few times. I keep on cutting off from the outside of it. I have here 1, 2, 3, 4. And that one is not doing very good back there. But I keep harvesting from the outer leaves and it just keeps on. It's the gift that keeps on giving. And down here we have our red onions, which are also starting to put on heads. Now over in our last bed, now this is where I need my torch and the soapy water. Let me set you guys down. So I actually saw the issue on the eggplant on the other end. This one is not so bad. See the ants here, the ants are doing their job. Okay, so this one actually looks fine. So I'm not going to do anything over here. I'm going to take off my glove. Okay, so over here, I did put down some parsley, which I should probably harvest a little bit. And I would, actually, I'm having a party on Sunday, and I'm making a bunch of salads. So I want to see if I need any of those, for any of those salads, if I need parsley. If yes, I'll harvest this, whatever. If I don't need, or I don't need all of it, I would dehydrate them and have it in my spice drawer. We got the celery, which is taking off since we started fertilizing. We got another zucchini here, slow but steady. Also, since we started fertilizing. And this is the plant that I saw the issue with. So, what made me look, what I'm going to show you, was this leaf right here. It looks burnt on the edges. It has a hole through the center. And it's a bit yellow. The new plants look decent, but look at this. Do you see all this yellow right here? Oh, I jumped over one of the other ones that I wanted to take care of. There you go. You see all those white little dots? So this is apparently spider mite eggs. So I have the torch here. I think I should wear gloves when I'm working with a torch. So this, when I did my online search about this, it said that just soapy water will help. But I'm afraid that if it washes it off, it might just come back on. I mean, it might just hatch in the soil. I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to burn them. And then I will spray it with the soapy water and hopefully get rid of it. So I'm going to do this on all of my leaves that I see them. Ooh, wow, this one has a lot. Take you back to another one that had squash bug eggs, which is on the squash, yes, and it's going to be black ones instead of yellow. Okay, you have time now?
Yeah.
Trim the tomatoes on that side a little bit.
Sure.
Thank you. I have helpers out in the garden today, this morning. This is so nice. Okay, so I can just... So our basil, we moved over to the second side, is doing so good in these beds. They're slowly taking off. You'll see the comparison in the old beds, but I am happy with the growth that I see in the new beds. Now this is a Brandywine heirloom tomato that we put in a few weeks ago because the deer had chopped down 4 plants over here, and another few on the next bed. Actually, in the next bed, it might have been the ground dog when it came in for the carrots. It also ate some of the tomatoes. And these are starting to put on the blooms. So we're going to have tomatoes, hopefully by the next garden tour. This is some marigolds. They're putting on some nice height. No flowers yet, which I'm not upset about because I want the flowers when these are producing fruit, because any pest that would come for the fruit, this should help get rid of them. And apparently on this side it didn't produce anything Oh, I realize now that you guys are still on Zoom. So, yeah, let me put you guys back. So this is also our brandy wine. We've got another basil and our third brandy wine. And this one over here, we got 2 marigolds coming up. Remy, over here, the 2 stems that are yellowish can also be taken off. And this one already has flowers right there. And this one is called Pink Lady. And this is a Pink Girl. This one I put in just a few weeks ago, actually. Because I forgot that... What, you wanted my coffee? I forgot that this one was eaten up as well. And the deer had eaten from the main stem. And I didn't see any growth on it. But I forgot when I bought the plants for this one, I forgot to buy one for here. So when I bought this one a couple weeks ago and I put it in, I realized that it is putting on growth. It's slow, but it's coming. So I just transplanted it without the trellis. Like, it doesn't have one of those strings going up. And I figured if it vines, it can vine out onto the pathway right here, and if it produces fruit, it's a bonus, because we had given up on this one. We've got another basil. This is a sweet pea currant, so they're teeny tiny tomatoes, and I figured these will be great for the pizza sauce that my family loves. And these are ones that I did start inside, but they are taking quite a while to start producing flowers, but they are loaded with flowers right now. I don't know if you can see all the yellow on here, but wow. Yeah, they're doing so good. Same with this one. It's the same thing, and this one was teeny tiny. The root ball of it was waterlogged, and when I transplanted them, and then it also didn't have the nutrients from the soil, because this is one of the new beds. And like the last couple of weeks since I started fertilizing, this just took off. It's putting on flowers. So hopefully we'll get a decent harvest from this one as well. We've got our basil here, and I forgot to show you over here, we have another marigold. Now over here, my husband's trimming up the tomato plants because we want to increase the airflow for these so that it can produce the most flowers possible. Over here we got one of our basils. Amazing growth on here. I'm so excited. I harvested a ton of it the other day, and I dehydrated. I used some of it. I dehydrated most of it. And we have some in the pantry with our spices. We got our marigolds over here. So the ones over here, the marigolds are getting quite leggy, meaning quite tall, because they have to fight the tomato plants for sunlight. So hopefully it'll produce flowers. But this also helps. That's why the trellising up the tomatoes and cutting down the branches that we don't need will help this as well. And this one, which plant is this? Oh, this one is a super sweet 100, which will also be good for our pizza sauce. Let me get these out. And these I see are putting on the buds, and they're starting to flower. And this is one that the groundnut got eaten down, and we got in the nursery, and they took off in the blink of an eye. They were just teeny tiny. Yeah. Oh look, this one has a tomato. Right here. I see a few. Yeah. Oh, you see on the on the bottom. I don't know if you can see that. Look at this basil plant. All the layers of growth. We did. Isn't that amazing? I can make. That's why I said yesterday that we can make a basil pasta salad, pesto pasta salad for the party.
You better make a video of the party.
This is another one of the Sweet 100. Look at this one. This is one of our marigolds. It's putting on offshoots, but no flowers yet. No, this is a flower. So this flower helps take care of the pests and bugs that come for the tomato that are not good for the tomato. They don't like this, so they don't come. This one here is another one that I replaced a couple weeks ago, and the reason for this is because
but that we didn't replace.
Right. We came out here one day and the stem just was broken off. It was still attached to the string. We had the clips, but probably a bug or something, an animal, and a bit off like the base, and it was just dying out. So we replaced it, and I don't know why it's browning like this over here.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yesterday was way more. I watered it the last 2 days. 2
Okay.
days ago was worse. Yesterday was a bit better. Now
Uh-huh.
it's getting better.
Okay. You want to remove, when you're trimming this one, you think you can remove those branches?
Worse
So-
branches, I'll try to.
Okay, thank you. We got another basil, and these are the best basil I ever had. They are putting on so much growth, and you wanted a bigger one. They're putting on so much growth, and we keep on harvesting, and it just comes back in like a day or two. This is our San Marzano tomatoes, which already has tomatoes growing on. I know on the bottom we have bigger ones. They're not turning yet. They're not getting color on them yet. Can you see this one right there? Same with the other ones. These are two plants right here. They're so tight together. That's another reason why we need to trim. But they are putting on fruit. They're not turning color yet, but we're keeping an eye on them. But there's so much fruit down here. Here and here. I don't know if you can see all of it. Here's another one of our marigolds. And this one really isn't getting much light. And another one of our basils. And now back to our last bed. You can see over here we have a bunch of lettuce, putting on size, zucchini. I should really check this one. This one doesn't have eggs, looks like. I'll have to keep looking at them now that I've spotted some on the other plants. These look fine. This is soil. Yeah, these look fine. Okay. This here is going to be potentially a 12-foot sunflower. We'll see how good they do since it's in one of the new beds. But we got a bunch of this. These basils are also doing really good already. We already did a harvest a couple weeks ago. And also they keep coming back. This is a ghost pepper. And I see our first pepper starting to form over here. Did they flower already? I don't think they flowered yet. This one is a yellow pepper, putting on the first flower. We've got more peppers. I'm going to check this eggplant as well. I do see some. I can just do that. So actually my search on how to fix this said that just water, hosing it down with water at the bottom of the leaves will help wash it down. But like I said, I didn't want them to drop into the soil and then survive in the soil. And then here we got another one of our 12-foot sunflowers. Here guys, so I went inside and I changed. I was very sweaty and started off my day, and then I realized I didn't harvest my garlic. So I'm going to show you guys what I'm looking for. I'm trying to see if I can spot one that is ready to harvest so that I can show you guys. Yeah, I found one. So let me show you guys, and then I'll set you down and you'll see how I harvest the rest of them. So this one here is what I'm looking for. So this one, first of all, I'm not expecting it to be a very big garlic because the stalk is pretty thin, but this is what I'm looking for. You see the first 3 leaves are completely dry, and the next 2 are already starting to dry. This one's almost completely dry, and this one is, I'd say, almost completely dry. So this is what I am looking for before I harvest them. You can see over here, this one only has 1 leaf dry. This one has 2. The third one is starting. It's like 75% there. So like these are not ready. So this is what I'm looking for. So I will not have one big garlic harvest. Instead, I will be harvesting them as they get ready. So let's see. All I'm going to do to harvest it is I'm going to grab it by the stalk, the closer to the base of the bottom, but not at the bottom completely, and just pull it up. And look at this. It's actually bigger than I expected. So before I go inside, I'm going to wash all of this off, the most of the dirt possible. And I set up a rack where I'm gonna let all of these dry with a fan to help the drying process. Okay guys, while I was setting you guys up, I found 2 more garlic scapes. So I got those off of the plants. I see another one over there. Let me see, it's coming up. It's funny. It's not really one that we would be able to enjoy because the blossom is right at the base of it. So I'm just gonna go through every single one. This one's almost there. Not quite. So I'm gonna go through every one, see if I find any that are ready to be harvested, and if they are, I will add them to my basket right here. So these did produce the scapes later than in the other bed. So most of these garlics are going to take a bit longer until they are ready to be pulled. Almost there. So over here it's going to be a little bit harder to see because we got our beans. But it smells so good as I'm pulling them up. Wow. And ideally I wouldn't be harvesting them now because the soil is wet and so these heads are wet. But it's going to be raining the next few days. So this is my best opportunity. Okay, this is our soft neck. I'm heading into our soft neck. This one is a little bit harder to pull, even though the first 3 layers were dry. Oh man, the garlic itself stayed inside. Where is it? My hands are all dirty now to get in there to get it. Okay, so far I'm seeing that my hard necks are bigger than my soft necks. But I'm not going to say that that's the hard and fast rule because my first few hard necks were also pretty small. So it could just be that the smaller ones are ready earlier. But our hard necks, I'm getting some decent size on them. The ones that I'm harvesting right now. Look at our basket of garlic. This is beautiful. And we still got plenty more where this came from. So what we're gonna do next, we're gonna head over to the water hose and we're gonna wash off most of this soil from the bowls because I don't want this to come inside. So I believe my water is on still. Let me just check. No, it's not. First I'm gonna wash off my hands from digging out that one garlic bulb. Just washing them off the most that I can. I need a bigger basket.
Yeah.
I need to buy.
That's good.
Okay, so I came inside and this shelf rack I have right by my patio door. I have a fan going right over here to help them dry out. I laid them out, spreading them out like that. Some of these are already here from last week when I harvested some. Last week, beginning of this week, I don't know. But we have to let them completely dry out so that the first few layers until the actual garlic cloves dry out completely and become paper. This should take somewhere between 2 and 4 weeks, I'm assuming. I'm not sure. I will do some research so I know for sure. And then I got this this shelf over here, some as well. And we're going to fill this up as we continue to harvest. This took me a lot faster thanks to all my helpers that I had out here. And I'm ready to start the day. The sun is coming out now. Perfect timing before I get all sweaty and hot in the sunlight. And I'm amazed by the growth that we have so far. And I'm excited to see where all of this takes me over the next couple months. I can't wait to have the 2 trellises back there filled up all the way with green leaves and producing cucumbers and peas and green beans and just being able to harvest and enjoy all my hard work, my family's hard work. As you can see, everybody pitches in and to be able to preserve this. So if you want to see and keep up with what's going on in the garden, consider hitting the subscribe button, and I hope to see you in my next video.